2020 has been an interesting year, to say the least. While it may not have been the year mankind redeemed itself, it has been an absolutely badass year for gaming, and even more so for mods. ArmA 3 is no exception, and in this video I'm going to highlight 20 of my top picks from this dumpster fire of a year. We've seen some incredible talent show up in the workshop this year, and they've continued to deliver day after day, week after week, keeping us engaged in this amazing sandbox we love so much. These mods don't necessarily have to have come out in 2020, as some of them have received huge updates that warrant recognition and inclusion on this list and definitely deserve your download. So without further delay, let's get into my top 20 mods of 2020. At number 20, we have Improved Melee System by WebKnight. This guy has been pumping out incredible mods left and right throughout 2020, and this amazing mod is a definite highlight. It adds a hilariously awesome melee system for both players and the AI. The AI is incredibly aggressive and, in typical ArmA 3 fashion, is incredibly hard to beat, when they don't glitch out that is. Sending mobs of melee troops against each other and watching them brawl is amazing. Shields are available in the NBG section of the virtual arsenal, allowing you to bolster your defense, but be careful because the AI will defend themselves as well. You'll have to make sure you don't arm the AI with any ranged weapons, as they will default to those weapons and engage from afar if they get the chance. That may just have been a glitch in my own playthrough though. Give this mod a download and let the frenzy begin. At number 19 is a map I've included in a previous top list and have continued to use for its amazing lighting throughout my videos, and that is Laghisola by War Is Hell and Luis Barros 99. This map continues to see regular updates to the base facilities and regions of the terrain, fleshing out a more varied landscape for players and AI to engage in. The compounds are really fun to take and hold, allowing for plenty of compound versus compound action. The airbase also received a hefty refit, and actually has a paved runway and taxiways now, a welcomed addition over the previous dirt strip. The port is one of the more scenic areas of the map, allowing for a beautiful sunset to crest just over the water, casting that beautiful ArmA 3 lighting we all know and love. It's especially remarkable to fly over, forcing you to steal a glance or two while you're on an extended combat air patrol. The jungles are full of trees and foliage from ArmA 3 Apex, so you know it's going to get cramped and messy fighting in those tight quarters. I'm eager to see where the devs take this map in 2021. At number 18 is East Wind Rearmed by Grizz. This mod is definitely one of my favorite faction mods to hit the workshop in a while. It adds great variation using existing assets as well as incorporating amazing weapons and equipment from the RHS mods. That being said, all RHS mods are required to use this mod, as most of the infantry equipment and vehicles come from RHS. They've just been given a new faction makeover. Eastwind Rearmed brings the CSAT, AAF, and FIA to modern day specifications, which allows for the reimagining of scenarios where NATO hadn't fully developed into its 2035 version. Using the existing US Armed Forces of the RHS mod, this brings your entire ArmA 3 experience seamlessly into the types of engagements you'd see in modern day. Much like how RHS handled its faction-specific mods, Eastwind Rearmed did the same thing by launching a CSAT, AAF, and FIA version separately. The skins are beautiful and up to par with the RHS standard, and the weapons and equipment of each faction are believable and very functional for the setting that they take place in. The CSAT faction comes with the European, Mediterranean, North African, Pacific, and paramilitary varieties, each with their own camouflage scheme and varied equipment. Likewise, the AAF have their own modern camo scheme that fits well with their mid-tier realm of operations. It's mods like this that keep ArmA 3 at the top of the player charts thanks to the endless replayability. At number 17 is Arsenal Search by Polpox. I can't honestly fathom how much time this mod has saved me since it launched back in April of 2020. It's such a simple addition to the game, but one that is such an incredible quality of life improvement, I can't load ArmA without it anymore. It's also crazy simple to use. You hit Control F in the virtual arsenal, type in a word that you're looking for in either the left or right search box and hit enter. Everything with that word in it will highlight in orange, saving you literally hours of gameplay searching for that one thing you've been looking for, especially when you have monster mods loaded like Cup and RHS that have a trillion different pieces of equipment. Don't spend another second looking the manual away. Let Polpox do the searching for you. At number 16 is the Desert AAF Skin by Anthrax. If you don't know Anthrax, you should. He has developed and deployed some of the most aesthetically pleasing desert uniforms for the AAF forces. As simple as this reskin is, I can't help but love it. The textures and camo patterns work perfectly with Altis, Stratus, and Malden, and is representative of what a real-world AOR-type camouflage pattern would look like for a mid-tier fighting force like the AAF that was trying to modernize its military. To me, this is what the AAF forces were meant to look like as they patrol the deserts of Altis or deploy to the beaches of Malden to take the island back from NATO forces after the alliance with CSAT. Go ahead and modernize your Altian armed forces with a realistic camo pattern that they deserve, and thank Anthrax while you do it. At number 15 is Drongo's map population. Drongo has been hard at work giving us some of the best ambient and background running mods to date. His map population mod allows you to completely populate a map with a faction and specific assets of your choice by simply spawning a few units and spawning his map population module. The module will do the thinking for you, and once done, it will give you a hint that the map has been successfully populated. Now, if you're running an older computer, I must warn you that adding a ton of assets immediately into your game world will absolutely destroy your frame rates, so be prepared for that if you plan on spawning in a ton of ambient units. Not only does this mod allow you to customize the parameters of the units that spawn in, it also comes with the ability to spawn patrols, HVTs, suicide bombers, garrisons, and so much more. It's ridiculous. The amount of scripting Drongo has done for you so you don't have to is mind-blowing. He has even been so kind as to provide a 5-minute how-to tutorial video on his mod, which outlines exactly how to use it and get the best out of the mod itself. If that wasn't enough, it works with any mods and any maps on the workshop. You simply need to define in the module parameters what you want it to do, and your own customized ambient mission will be born. At number 14 is Ragdoll Physics Plus by Venom DJs. This is one of those quality of life mods I've enjoyed thoroughly since I downloaded it. It's a lightweight Ragdoll mod that improves some of the Ragdoll physics incorporated into ArmA 3, which adds some pretty interesting and hilarious outcomes. I'm a sucker for Ragdoll just like I am for clear visuals. Sometimes the leg bend happens, and there's just no getting around it, unfortunately. This mod does a great deal to steer away from that immersion breaking leg bend though. I'm not sure if it's part of this mod, but high explosive explosions cause infantry to go flying, which is always a welcome sight. The more bodies flying, the better. At number 13 is Modern Warfare NVG Visual Effects by Apricot Ale and Fat Lurch. Once Modern Warfare dropped, everyone went nuts over the white phosphorus look in their NVGs, and it really does look amazing. This mod aims to replicate that exact look for ArmA 3, which has stirred up the milsim world like crazy. You have the option of bouncing between multiple types of link colors to suit your desired look as well. Me personally, I really do enjoy the Modern Warfare look of the night vision, and I'm pleasantly surprised every time I turn them on and how good it looks. At number 12 is Task Force Canada by CAF Mod ArmA. This mod has been a long time coming. They've done an excellent job modeling and texturing beautiful uniforms and vehicle skins that not only look impressive, but they look dirty and war-torn. When war machines look too clean or pristine, it's always such a deal breaker to me. Anyone in the military will tell you our equipment is put through all kinds of hell. Because it wasn't designed to be treated like a BMW. It was designed to be sent to war and kill the enemy. I love mod makers that understand this and deliver rugged, war-torn looking vehicles and equipment. The vehicles in Task Force Canada are perfect for their setting and are beautifully textured. In the right light, these textures look damn near photorealistic. The Canadian Armed Forces infantry weapons have been faithfully recreated and blend in well with the ArmA 3 setting. There are a large variety of infantry uniform camo patterns to choose from, such as Cadpat Desert, Woodland, Snow, and Arid. These uniforms blend in beautifully with the base game maps as well as any other terrain on the workshop. Our brothers and sisters in the north are some of the toughest fighters in the world, and I'm glad they get the recognition and amazing mods like Task Force Canada. At number 11 is one of my favorite support tools, Simplex Support Services by Scepter. This mod is ace dependent and is hands down one of the most fun, easy to set up, and effective support tools you'll find out there in the workshop. Scepter made a couple how-to videos on getting it set up, but it's really incredibly simple. If you want artillery support, you simply place the module from the Eden editor in the map as well as artillery units you want to be assigned as artillery. Sync them to the modules, then sync those modules to the assigned requester module, and then to your playable character, and you're done. You'll now have the option to summon your support through the Ace interactive menu, and it's a sight to behold. The transport elements are also awesome to use and really easy to set up for mission makers that hate messing with the waypoints over and over again. The tour de force is by far the ability to take the controls of a V-44 Blackfish, allowing you to rain hell down on the enemy from above while supporting your team in advancing elements. Scepter has a ton of incredible mods on the workshop, all of which add something amazing to ArmA 3, so definitely head to his workshop and support his work. At number 10 is Roanoke's weapons mods. I'm rolling up multiple weapons mods for this one, as Roanoke has introduced a few awesome additions to the small arms front this year. His Mark 23 SOCOM was featured in a previous video, and that led to me discovering the rest of his awesome weapons. To date, he's created the British version of the M4, the L119A2, which is to date the highest fidelity model of this firearm on the workshop. Another notable weapon is his FN57. I've always had a thing for this sidearm, especially when it was given a lot of love in the Battlestar Galactica remake. Roanoke prides himself on providing incredibly high fidelity single weapon systems, and he definitely deserves your download. His weapons are impactful, modeled and textured beautifully, and add some hard to find small arms that aren't included in any other weapons packs or anywhere else in the workshop. At number 9 is Mull of Kintyre by Ice. This beautiful map brings to life the southwestern edge of the Kintyre Peninsula. At 24 square kilometers, it's not the biggest map, but what is there is beautifully made. The rolling hills and crop fields give this map a beautiful backdrop that contrasts well against the carnage of firefights and engagements. The airbase is massive, allowing for a huge amount of fighter and cargo aircraft to be stationed there for extended combat exercises and deployments. The runway is long enough to support any known aircraft in ArmA 3. Kintyre is also adjacent to a large body of water, so seaborne attacks and carrier operations are possible. Just flying over the rolling hills and enjoying the scenery is reason enough to grab this map off the workshop. It gets updated pretty regularly, with nearby islands scheduled to be built upon in the future. I'm pretty excited to see how far this map goes. At number 8 is Community Upgrade Project, more commonly known as CUP. CUP has really stepped up its game in the last couple of years, and 2020 has been no exception. Tons of texture work has been done, as well as factions that have been included to add even more replayability to this already endless game. A good amount of the vehicles have been given a dirty, rugged look that I enjoy so much. But it really does stand out that these are primarily ports of older assets. Even still, CUP helps mission makers by having one of the largest selections of vehicles, weapons, and units anywhere on the workshop. CUP has the nostalgic feel, as so many of the assets are ports from ArmA and ArmA 2, some of which have been improved upon model-wise. Textures and liveries have been given a facelift to bring them to the ArmA 3 engine's standard of graphic fidelity. This is an absolute must-have mod if you want to recreate missions from the 1980s era of operations, as it has the most commonly used assets, such as the M60A3 Patton. At number 7 is the undisputed king of the modding community, Red Hammer Studios, or RHS. These guys have been knocking it out of the park since the Operation Flashpoint days and have not let up since. RHS will give you some of the highest fidelity assets around, and while their download sizes are considerable, they are absolutely worth every kilobyte of space. RHS has given a lot of love to these assets, taking many old ports and completely recreating the assets from the ground up. This level of fidelity rivals that of ArmA 3's base assets and are some of the most lovingly crafted assets you'll get your hands on. I can't fathom how many hours are put into modeling and texturing the literal hundreds of assets that RHS comes with. Divided up into faction-based downloads, each pack is a self-contained expansion to ArmA 3 itself, providing tanks, aircraft, lightly armored vehicles, and a huge variety of infantry. The sheer amount of infantry weapons and equipment that comes with these packs are mind-blowing, and the level of detail of each one is a testament to their quality control at Red Hammer Studios. At number 6 is BettIR by Vestar. This mod is one of those quality of life improvements you didn't know you needed. The default night vision is super dark, as is Ace Mod's night vision. This mod aims to allow for increased infrared illumination from the laser pointers and modded weapon attachments such as the PEC-15s. What this does is in extremely low light conditions, the weapon attachments will shoot a small amount of infrared light to better help the night vision see what's around you, thus greatly increasing your situational awareness during nighttime operations and raids, where close quarters combat is inevitable and the chance of fratricide is at an all-time high. In those instances, the ability to immediately tell friend from foe is a game changer, and BettIR is the advantage you'll need over your enemies if you want to come out on top every time. At number 5 is a mod that is extremely close to my heart, MO's Pilot Gear Suite by 556mo. This is hands down some of the highest fidelity aircrew flight equipment you'll find anywhere in the workshop. Firewheel set the first benchmark with his aircrew equipment, but Mo has absolutely destroyed the competition. This incredible work is equivalent to 9 Arms weapons in craftsmanship and fidelity, and finally provides pilots with the ability to mix up their look. He started off with providing us with beautifully made MBU-12s and HGU-55s, equipment that began its run in the mid-80s and is still in limited use today. The more current MBU-20 mask was added next with dark visors, and finally, the most recent update, and my personal favorite, are his beautiful renditions of the JHMX 1 and 2. I can't get over the level of craftsmanship of these helmets and breathing masks. I spend more time looking at my character now than flying thanks to Mo. He has quickly become one of my top content creators with his incredible work, and if you are like me and love beautiful flyer gear, grab this mod and watch for more updates from this awesome creator. Mo, if you're watching this, thank you for getting me excited to gear up in ArmA again. At number 4 is the FA-18EF Super Hornet by TTT3, Acolyte, Leshrac, and Yax. This mod is an absolute work of art, much like the Super Hornet itself. To date, it is one of the only aircraft in ArmA 3 with an interactive cockpit. The startup sequence is a ton of fun to initiate and lends a whole other realm of realism to your flight operations. Acolyte has been hard at work removing dependencies on ITC to give the Super Hornet its realistic feel, and has masterfully included many of those MFD functions into the Super Hornet's actual MFDs in the cockpit. No longer will you have huge MFD overlays on your screen. Now you just need to look down into the display of the actual fighter you're flying to manipulate the controls and set up your weapons and avionics. The list of actual features is almost too long to include and would need its own video to cover. Even then, it may be too much. A few key features are the inclusion of air-to-air combat modes such as BVR and ACM radar modes, MFD integration for avionics use and non-reliance on ITC, as well as built-in navigation systems that enable the use of a couple awesome features such as pre-planned waypoints and the dynamic adding, removing, and changing of waypoints in flight using the micro dagger. This mod also comes with TFAR and Acre support. The Super Hornet mod is set to be one of the most immersive experiences in ArmA 3. At number 3 is ArmA 3 Thermal Improvement by Pingo Pete, Lala, and Hayton Caffeine. I featured this mod in my top 25 must-have mods, but its incredibly immersive visuals are just too good not to include on this list. A3 Ti completely revamps the white-hot, black-hot look of the thermal imaging used by vehicles' target pods. This is one of those quality-of-life mods that Milsim guys drool over as you watch your GBUs strike their targets and the secondary explosions from a well-orchestrated gun run. To use the mod, simply open your target pod and hit B by default, and you'll switch over to the A3 Ti thermal imaging. Hit B again to cycle through the two modes while in the NVG and BTV modes. This awesome thermal imagery blew my mind when I first saw it, and I knew I had to have it. This is another mod that hasn't left my mod list since I found it. Do yourself a favor and start using thermal imaging the right way. At number 2 is Death itself, the AC-130U Spooky mod by the USAF mod team. The long-awaited Spooky hit the workshop back in October and has had a massive amount of work done to it since. This mod was put together by a huge team of incredible content creators who are dedicated to providing the most immersive and realistic aircraft simulations possible within the confines of ArmA 3's engine allowances. This isn't DCS by any means, but man, it's getting close. A full crew complement minus the actual aerial gunners loading the munitions are available for you to play as, and getting this thing operational with a crew that knows what it's doing is a dangerous combination. no enemy will be safe, and the ground forces below can rest assured that Death Incarnate is watching over them, waiting for the enemy to pop its head up. And finally, at number 1 is Cold War Rearmed III by Woll. This mod has incredible timing as the release of the Cold War DLC Iron Curtain looms in the near future. Cold War Rearmed III is one of the best mods I've seen thus far that brings us back to the Operation Flashpoint feel with 80s-centric factions, weapons, and equipment. Utilizing Cup's extensive library of assets, Cold War Rearmed III gives you a near carbon copy of the factions that came with the original Operation Flashpoint: the West, the East, and the Resistance. The asset that caught my eye was the beautifully recreated AH-1S Cobra attack helicopter, which was created by Max Power. This version of the Cobra was used extensively throughout the 80s and well into the 90s, and is still being used by allied nations to this day. The texturing and modeling is absolutely stunning, and it handles and combats the enemy like an absolute banshee. As we gear up for the release of Iron Curtain DLC, Cold War Rearmed III will take you straight back to the 80s during the height of the Cold War, and will help you relive those intense and often fruitless efforts fighting off waves of T-72s and BMPs that were overwhelming your position. If you're itching to get your Cold War fix, and you're willing to grab the sizable Cup mods that are its only dependencies, then this mod is exactly what you've been looking for. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending your time with me today and listening to my top 20 mods of 2020. I'd like to give a massive shout out to my loyal patrons who have stuck with me through this YouTube journey since I started taking this channel seriously in April 2020. I want to also thank all of you for joining me in Discord, liking, commenting, and supporting me through this crazy year we've all suffered through together. It hasn't been easy, but here we are, and we will keep moving forward together. I will keep pumping out ArmA 3 content as much as I possibly can, but please know that I am getting very busy professionally with my upcoming move to a new duty station in the coming months, so the content may not be as regular. Once everything settles down, I'll be developing and deploying more videos just for you. It's been a hell of a year. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in 2021.